Hello, welcome to Revelator Alf live for another radio podcast thing. Here, live from the UK and going live out on YouTube and on Twitch. So I'm going to put up the chat from both sources soon. So if you're on both, let us know your thoughts on what we're going to be discussing tonight. I'm going to go through all the latest news from the motorcycle world, and also, looking ahead, a preview of the live launch from Harley Davidson on January the 18th, which is, a couple of days away now, Wednesday afternoon. I'm going to be doing a live show here from 3 p.m. For this watch along, as it were, as we all see what Harley Davidson are going to come out with their new bikes for 2023. I'm going to dig into that a little bit later on as well. But this is all about that. It's basically the 2023 model launch. It's all happening on the 18th. I'm going to be live at 3 p.m. But today is a bit of a mixture. It's about that, but it is, after all, a radio podcast thing. And I'm just going to get into some stories first of all and see where we're at. So I do have some of the socials there below. You can follow me there as well. You can do the support thing with the PayPal and Patreon. I say if you're on Twitch, then you can subscribe and follow along. That'd be great. You can do that via Amazon Prime, I believe. There's lots of different ways. I'm still learning about Twitch myself. I'm just trying to attract a new audience as well, a different type of audience who like different sources, different platforms. But here, look, it's all about Harley Davidson. What are they going to give us for 2023? That's what I'm going to be discussing a little bit later on. But first of all, it's all about what's in the news. Okay, what's in the news? I suppose I got a lead by the story, I suppose, that Evel Knievel's son, Robbie Knievel, dies at 60 in a Reno hospice. I believe he had prostate cancer, I believe. It was something like that. He'd been suffering for a long time, and it's basically... it doesn't really say. It was some kind of cancer, I believe. Anyway, it goes into this here. It goes into his story here as well. This happened a couple of days ago, I believe. And, very sad end to a great career, in this kind of entertainment field, this motorcycle entertainment field. Famously, he didn't use Harley Davidsons, I don't believe, for most of his stunts, unlike his father, who did use Harley Davidsons for most of his stunts, I believe. But it's interesting. I did a bit of research afterwards and say, his Robbie Knievel's longest jump, his furthest jump, and he jumped over quite a few things. He famously jumped over the Grand Canyon. He jumped over the fountains at the Caesar's Palace, which Evel Knievel failed to do. And a couple of years ago, Travis Pastrana did it on. Now, was it on Harley Davidson's, modified Harley Davidson by Roland Sands, or was it on Indians? I think it was on the Harley Davidson's, modified by Roland Sands. But anyway, Robbie Knievel's longest distance jumped was 228 feet, and he did that in 1999. His father, Evel Knievel, in 1975, did his furthest jump, and bearing in mind this is on a heavier bike, on a Harley Davidson, I believe, and that was on 133 feet. So, there was a big difference between father and son. Okay, that's dwarfed into insignificance. Well, not insignificance, but it's dwarfed into hardly anything really when you consider. In 2008, Robbie Madison, the freestyle MX rider, and then got into jumping and stunts, and really big fan of Robbie Madison, right? He broke a world record, and he set it at 351 feet, right? Then Alex Harville in 2012 broke the world record and landed a 425-foot jump. Would you believe 425 foot? Now, I'm a little bit unclear, so let us know in the comments below if you're watching as well. But if if Alex Harwell actually died, I think it's 2021, or is it 2000? I'm not sure exactly the date. I think it's 2021 when he was attempting to break that world record again, and on a practice jump he landed really hard and subsequently died, unfortunately. But it just goes to show, from that 425, world record jump, which is in the Guinness World Records right now, and that original Evel Knievel jump, 133 feet, there's a huge difference, nearly 300-foot difference. Obviously, they're doing it on modern bikes now, motocross bikes, whatever. Jump bike specially prepared, very lightweight, very high power to weight ratio. Obviously, the techniques are all different now and everything. It's just, but it's amazing, really. But I thought I'd launch with that because it's a very poignant story. I think that a family heavily associated with not only with Harley Davidson but motorcycle entertainment, and I grew up on Evel Knievel. My neighbor, my best friend at the time, had a jump bike, an Evel Knievel jump bike that you would wind up, and it would go off down a ramp, and you try and get it to flip and turn and do wheelies and everything like that. I remember watching Evel Knievel, in films and TV shows and all that sort of stuff when I was a kid. So it's part of my upbringing, and his son thereafter as well, followed that up as well. So it was all, it was always very Americanized, and it always had that kind of American flavor to it. So from a British kid looking up, it was always like, oh wow, that's what Americans like, But anyway, so it was obviously a great career. Just a sad end, going at 60 is just too young, really, isn't it? It's just way too young. But there we go. As I say, you can still support the channel here with all the socials as well, and if you want to leave comments as well, just let us know in here, and I will get that all sorted. I've got a feeling I may not have sorted out the chat properly, but let us know. Let us know if you're picking this up all okay. If you're all okay with that, let me just do that again. 1 second, if I get the chat settings here, get rid of that, embed in stream, copy. Right, let me just make sure that this one is all okay. See if that works. Hopefully it does. That works. So if you get the chat comes through. Hopefully that will work there. Let me just do this overlay chat. I'm still finding my way with the chat settings here, guys. So just bear with me 1 second as we try and get this sorted out here. Yeah, it's all good, all good. If there's anybody out there who can actually just drop a message and just say, leave us in the chat, let us know if that's coming through. I'm not sure if they're being displayed on there. Nothing is coming through on my stream here as well, in terms of the chats. But say, if you want to leave a comment, let us know, and hopefully it will okay. Let me see if I can just tap a message there, see if that comes up. Ah, yes, it does. I've just message, so it does work. So basically it will appear right at the top there. Anyway, okay, so that is the first story of the day. Apologies, I've got such a bad cold. I've got a little bit better today, but anyway, listen, the next segment is all about products. Let's get into it. Okay, so there's a new product that I wanted to highlight as well. This came out today, I believe, and it's from Visor Down publication here in the UK. But this is SBS introducing new Better Brake sustainable brake pads. I think it was EBC came out with some green brake pads the other day. They're finding more and more green options for motorcycle consumables these days. So the motorcycle brake manufacturer SBS has announced a new line of brake pads called Better Brakes, designed to be more sustainable and offer improved performance. So that's always nice. SBS Brakes has been introduced with a new type of compound that is both pure in composition and supposedly has improved performance characteristics to match. The brake pads come in two forms, Sinter versions and HF versions as well. So the Sinter compounds will not contain copper and nickel and are instead designed of an iron-based formula. The HF compounds are purified and are without compounds that contain dust particles that may or may not contain levels of copper, nickel, and antimony. So there we go. These, however, will be transitioning in phase of SBS to bring in their better brake pads by 2025. So, another year and a half to 2 years really before these come out. But I thought that was, I always like to highlight new tech that's coming out as well. So there we go. That's from SBS, from Visor Down. Good little article there as well. Okay, so here's another one here. I just want to bring your attention to. This is India. They've just been having their motorcycle show out there. And a lot of the Indian motorcycle manufacturers have been, because there's a mandate from the Indian government that they've got to start producing motorcycles that can run on alternative fuels to fossil fuels, in other words. But there's not necessarily, there is like a parallel vision here, if you will, to produce electric motorcycles, electric vehicles, but also to produce motorcycles that run on non-fossil fuels. And this is what I've been talking about for a long, long time. Electric isn't the only game in town, okay? I know there's a lot of people who would have you believe that for the future this is, but it's not the only game in town. It's not the only game in town. And I will dig into the comments in a little bit later on. But what I wanted to raise here, so the Indian manufacturers have basically come out with, the manufacturers that produce motorcycles for the Indian markets probably are better, and these include some Indian manufacturers as well. But this is the likes of Bajaj, Honda, Hero MotoCorp, Suzuki, Yamaha, and TVS Motor Company. They're producing motorcycles with their ethanol powered motorcycles. So the Honda XR300, right? And that will run off ethanol. It doesn't actually say how much of ethanol. The TVS Apache RTR 160 4 valve, and it can run, would you believe, on a blend from 20 to 85% ethanol. 20 to 85% ethanol, right? So these bikes are obviously purposely built, everything, all the components are purposely built to run off this fuel. Now, if you consider in the UK right now, you either got E5 or E10. That's either 5% ethanol mix or a 10% ethanol mix, right? And a lot of the manufacturers are moving up towards a 10%. They're trying to push it up to a 20 to a 30% ethanol mix already, right? But these bikes are already coming out and saying, no, this can run up to 85% mix. The Bajaj Pulsar NS160, it's E85. So E85 compatible. Anything up to 85% ethanol. Yamaha Phaser FZ15, right? Would you believe, listen to this, 20% to 100% ethanol. This bike will run on 100% ethanol, right? Suzuki Gixxer 250. E85, 85%. And the Hero Glamour X Tech, 20 to 85%. So look, ethanol. So as I say, it's not the only game in town. Definitely not the only game in town. Hi, Larry from the United States. How are you? Oh, I love this. Here we go. I did 2 jumps. First, I crashed. Second, the policeman told me to knock it off. Oh, brilliant. I believe you're from the United States. I could be wrong. I seem to recall. Unless that's another Larry. Let me know where you're from. I thought you were from Texas, North Texas. Was that right? Back in the day? Did you tell me that? I could be making this up. Coming through, Al. Thank you, Larry. Thank you for confirming. Hopefully the picture's okay. Hopefully the sound is okay, both on YouTube and on Twitch. So YouTube, you know the score. You can follow, like, share, subscribe, all that kind of good stuff. And you know, you can support in any which way you want. On Twitch, yeah, you can follow along, you can subscribe and do all that good stuff as well, and let us know. So I'll be doing regular streams on both platforms in the future as well. Okay, so that is like an insight into the future here, the future of motorcycling. You know, there's been a bit of backlash, I suppose, from the motorcycle world for the way it's going, you know, towards electric. And I want to raise this point and bring it back to Harley Davidson ever so quickly. Harley Davidson CEO, Jochen Zeitz, this last week or the week before, he actually said in a statement, he gave an interview, and actually said that Harley Davidson of the future is going 100% electric. It is there. It's on its trajectory. It's going 100% electric. Now, we're not talking next year, okay? We're not talking, you know, 10 years. We're talking, you know, quite a few years down the line. And on the basis of that, on the basis of the way things are going, you kind of think, well, yeah, I suppose it is. It is inevitable that everything's going to go electric. However, as we've already seen, not only, and I remarked on this, I believe last year, when I was talking about the Dakar rally of last year, when there were car teams, experimental car teams entering with experimental fuels and biofuels and ethanol fuels and everything like that. And I was saying at that time, watch out, because this year you're going to see more and more tech come out, not only in cars but also in bikes, where they're going to be using alternative fuels. That's going to be a challenge to this electric movement. And I've been saying it all year, and I've been saying there'll be new engines developed and everything like that. I swear I do not have a crystal ball, but it's, you know, I have been saying it if you've been watching my channel for a long time. And look, and here is the proof that, you know, there are bikes actually coming out with ethanol. They can run on pure ethanol, right? You know, that kind of thing. So there are, you know, but, you know, Jochen Zeitz is saying, no, Harley Davidson, they're on that trajectory for 100%, whereas there is an alternative. So if you watch my video live stream the other day when I was talking about Shell, and there was another company, I escaped my memory now. They're producing an alternative fuel, a synthetic-based fuel. So if you think right now it's going to be only going to be produced in a very small amount, but in years to come, 10, 15 years time, they could be ramping that up to produce a hell of a lot. So it really depends, you know, what comes out in the future, and what are the alternatives? Is it only going to be electric, or is it going to be internal combustion engines running on an alternative fuel? Is it going to be another type of engine completely that is running on another type of fuel as well? Okay, let's get back onto the other stories, shall we? Okay, what is this one? This is okay. Again, this is I suppose. Yeah, this is still in the news. Let me just bring up the website here again as well. This is Ducati. Ducati, obviously Italian manufacturer. We know Ducati. Everybody knows Ducati, right? But they're saying they got a record. This has been reporting quite a bit of press. This is from paultang.org, but they're saying a record sales year for Ducati, 61,562 bikes sold. You know, which on the grand scheme of it, you think, well, that's not a lot really when you compare it to the likes of Honda, who sell millions and millions. But obviously these are high-end bikes as well. But you know, they're really talking about it. They're saying delving into numbers which represent 3.6% growth over 2021 sales number 59,000. Ducati's home ground of Italy was its sales leader in 2022. As the main market for Ducati, Italians bought 9,578. a 10% increase over the 2021 figure. Obviously, we've got to consider this is really good going for the Italian brand, the high level Italian brand, but also we've got to consider that actually a lot of manufacturers have been suffering because of COVID and everything. Well, here they've bucked the trend and they've done really well. Meanwhile, Germany saw 9% growth, and sales worldwide, the Multistrada V4 saw 10,000 units. That has been a big seller for Ducati. And the Scrambler Ducati 800 family, 6,000 bikes sold. Malaysia saw 49% growth. Wow, in 2022 over 2021. So look, you know, interesting stuff. And this story actually about Ducati has been run for quite a lot of publications as well. So look, there we go. I always find it interesting to see which manufacturers are doing well at the end of the year and where they post their actual figures. Not hype, not marketing. This is actual figures. This is what is the real deal, as it were. So Ducati, well done to Ducati. Here's another one. I thought I'd bring this to you as well. This is from where is it from? Visor Down, and they're saying again, this came out a couple of days ago, 3 or 4 days ago, but I also got a press release on this as well. I think this is a case of Suzuki blowing their own horn, as it were, blowing their own trumpet and saying, oh, look, we're fantastic. But Suzuki with their GSX S1000 GT, their sports tourer, confirmed as the best-selling, I can't even speak tonight, sorry, the best-selling sports tourer of 2022. And when I saw this headline, I thought, wow, that's amazing. What is this? So it's a little bit misleading, this title, but I'll dig into that a little bit. Okay, it's a good article. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just a little bit misleading from my brain as I interpreted it, right? And it basically said the Suzuki GSX S1000 GT has been confirmed as the best-selling motorcycle in the sports touring category for 2022 after going on sale in April of 2022. So we haven't had a full year yet, right? Suzuki announced the GSX GT has been the best-selling motorcycle in the UK, okay, in the UK. So I thought it was like a global figure, but no. Okay, this is a UK press. So I suppose it makes sense that, you know, hey, look, they're doing this as well. But it's, you know, and then I saw the figures and I thought, well, okay. For some reason, I just thought there'd be a lot more. I just thought it'd be really big figures, right? The Suzuki GSX S1000 GT went on sale only in April of 2022, but despite that, sold 781. Now, I know we're a small country, but that doesn't seem like a lot of bikes to me. 781 to end the year on top in the sports touring category. Further 1,000 sales are anticipated. Again, I can't talk. A further 1,000 sales are anticipated by the end of March, which would also mark the end of the 12 months, right? That just doesn't seem like a lot to me. That doesn't seem like a lot of sales. Yeah, again, small country, and I suppose it'd be interesting to see how many bikes they're sold all over Europe. Maybe, I don't even know if this is being sold in the US, actually, or Canada. I would imagine so. But maybe it's not that popular. It wouldn't be a popular kind of bike in the United States. I don't know. I actually don't know. But I mean, look, it's got great features on it. You know, it's 150 horsepower, 1000cc engine, producing 106 newton meters of torque. I mean, that's got plenty of grunt. It also features two-way quick shifter, slipper clutch, 5-level traction control, as well as three power settings. Further, the bike features cruise control, a 6.5-inch full-color TFT screen. On the chassis side of things, there is a twin-spar aluminium frame, while KYB supplies an adjustable rear shock and front forks, and the swing arm is Superbike derived. And it's available from Suzuki dealers from $12,499, while the GSX S1000 GT Plus costs $13,599, comes with the two 36-litre panniers as standard. There we go. Look, I mean, look, interesting from Suzuki, because they've also got special deals and excuse me, finance deals. They're doing internal finance deals as well. They're trying to beat, all the rising costs, to help new buyers. But, sports tourers I like as bikes anyway. I like them because they usually got high power. They're good, as in manoeuvring as well. They're not that bad, but also you can use them as touring bikes as well, and comfortable touring bikes. So you've usually got a good riding position as well. So, I'm not surprised. I've always said about the likes of Suzuki and Kawasaki, if I just move this onto adventure bikes, everybody always goes on about the BMW, the Triumphs, the KTMs, now Harley Davidson, of course, right? About adventure bikes. If you want a high-end bike, that's more road focused, but still capable off-road. Let's say you go for a Ducati. Everybody always seems to forget about the V-Strom from Suzuki and the Versys from Kawasaki. They are very, very good adventure bikes. Yes. An adventure bike you can take off anywhere. It's and you can put it anywhere. Depending on your skill level. Put a bit of knobblies on it. Some off-road tires or some on-road off-road tires, a cross tire. They'll still do the business. But they are great all-round bikes. And the thing is, they come in a cheaper. So you're getting a lot more value out of those two bikes, or those two manufacturers' bikes. Now, this isn't a pro Suzuki or pro Kawasaki show or anything like that. No, this is just, same facts, calling it as I see it, as it were. Yeah, as I bang my notepad here, with my pen. There we go. Look, you, listen. But no, honestly, it's, I just thought it's a big... It's a big story to lead with, or the headline is a big story to lead with, and I was a little bit deflated when all I heard was, 781 bikes. I thought, oh, okay. I know that's nothing to be, sniffed at, but it's still a part of my sniffing. I still thought, excuse me. I thought that it would be a little bit better than that. But anyway, listen, I know I've only got one on Twitch. I know I've got a few of you on YouTube as well. Again, listen, thanks for watching. I decided to do a show tonight at 5:30-ish, whenever I came online. Something like that. What was it? Half an hour ago, 5:30. It was purely because I wanted to catch not only UK audience, I wanted to catch a waking US audience, and the late going to sleep at in the Far East, let's say Australia. And I know I'm getting a bigger following in India as well, so I'm also, I'm interested in the Indian bikes as well. I have got a bit of a following in Australia, and New Zealand, so I'm trying to produce content for everybody if I can. It's not always easy for me to go out on a particular time, on a certain time, but I am trying to do that. If you can't watch it live, then obviously you can just go back and watch it as a re-record as well. I have tried to improve the video quality content, and this is what, and also the audio content as well. So hopefully that's all coming through to you guys as well. Okay, right. So that's those stories. What was this next one? Okay, right. Let's get into this next bit, shall we? If I can just find this. I always like that little end. I'm no musician, by the way, but there we go. Listen, so new bikes. I mean, again, we're all waiting for the big reveal, aren't we? January the 18th from Harley Davidson. All the other manufacturers have largely released all their models for 2023, or told us what's coming, right? But we are getting little drip feeds of other manufacturers, smaller manufacturers, trying to get their day in the sun, as it were. Here's again, this is from who? Who's this from? Visordown again. Yeah, Visordown in the UK. I mean, I always like to go to Motorcycle News and Visordown, but they're not the only ones I choose as well. I look at a global effect here as well, all global reports. But here, they've got this nice little looking bike here. Look, I quite like that actually. But this is from Spanish brand Wotan, announced the Rebe 125cc. Wotan, the Spanish motorcycle manufacturer, has announced a new 125 naked motorcycle, the Rebe, which is available either CBS or ABS. Nice, look at that. Wotan have developed their Spanish bikes. You know, again, I've got to say this again. Spanish brands go largely unappreciated, possibly unrecognized by a lot of other European motorcycle manufacturers, or certainly Northern European, and certainly other countries around the world. But, you know, I've got a Spanish bike in here, Rieju, that Rieju 125. They've got other brands as well. But, you know, here, Wotan, you know, they've got their bike. Yeah, it's nice. It's got nice lines. It so reminds me of another bike, and I can't remember what it is. But there's another bike that looks virtually the same. The problem is that a lot of these designs, they all kind of merge in with each other as well. It kind of reminds me of a little the tank bit. If I can, is that's no, my cursor's not showing up on the. If you look at the tank right at the top of the tank and the way the line follows out, that kind of reminds me. And the way the tank, on the underside of the tank, it kind of loops down. That kind of reminds me of an Husqvarna type thing. There is a specific bike that it reminds me of, but I can't for the life of me remember. Yeah, Wotan have developed their Rebe model to have retro aesthetics with modern tints combined with all-new engine, which allows for lightness and stability. I'm just wondering whether this is fully Spanish or whether this has got Chinese backing as well, or Chinese design, whether it's another European design house. I'll have to do a bit more digging. If you know, let us know, of course. But the Rebe 125, 4-stroke water-cooled engine, Euro 5 compliant, has been developed to deliver power smoothly and efficiently. 13.4 horsepower. 13.4 horsepower. Oh, look, it's only a 125. You know, you can't ask for much, but 13.4. That's a bit on the. Also producing. You know, when you talk about big bikes and Harley Davidsons and stuff, and everybody goes on about horsepower and torque, and they go right. Oh crikey! 11 Newton meters of torque. You don't need a lot of torque, guys, to get a bike down the road, do you? But there we go. 11 Newton meters of torque at 8,000 RPM, which matches the likes of the Honda CBR 125R. The Rebe as a whole weighs 155 kilos. And as a fuel capacity of 14.5. Look, I've got to say, this is, you know, as a little entry level bike, as a small bike, small little commuter bike. Yeah, look, I would have no problem in getting on that and taking that for a little spin. I tell you what, that'd be fun. Gotta say that. Okay, so that was, I mean, some of those figures though are pretty funny though, aren't they? Here's another story here. Well, is it a new bike? Is it a new bike? I don't know. Again, visor down there, and this has been covered by quite a few other publications as well. Who's the author here? Alex Whitworth. So he's been doing quite well. I'm giving big props to these publications on it. But anyway, the Morbidelli name could be returning in motorcycles future thanks to a potential revival of the brand from Chinese manufacturer Keeway. Yeah, it's not a brand new story. This has been going on for quite a while now. The Italian brand Morbidelli seems to be on its way back, courtesy of Keeway. Morbidelli's brand prominence struck most in the late 70s when it won world titles in the 125-250 Grand Prix classes between 75 and 77. By 1982, the racing activities had been closed, and by the early 90s, Morbidelli was essentially gone from motorcycle production after a failed attempt at an 850cc V8 bike. A V8 bike, wow. However, now it's coming back. Like Benelli, for example, is thanks to the Chinese manufacturer. Yep. Before we get into Morbidelli, we must discuss MBP. Yes, MBP, that's Moto Bologna Passione, which is basically the Chinese manufacturers as well. They've got lots of their. So the brand's initial stands for Moto Bologna Passione, which shares a resemblance to MBA or Morbidelli Benelli Army. MBA was a conjunction of Morbidelli manufacturer and Benelli Army, a firearms offshoot. And Benelli, crikey, this is all going to get confusing, isn't it? That's the problem with all these re-emerging brands, and they got Chinese backing. Again, I said this in a previous show. They combine a lot of their resources, their design cues, and also the names, and it all comes out. And the Western markets, it all comes out as the same bike, or different bikes that look exactly the same as each other, or even companies that have very similar names, or bikes that have very similar names as well. So, well. I'm not sure about that, but we'll see. We will see what happens with that from Morbidelli motorcycles here. Here's a little bit of new tech. Let's get back into this as well. Okay, it's this is all about from Honda. And again, I'm trying to give a balanced view of not only internal combustion engines and also the alternative fuels and different engines and all that sort of stuff. But I'm also trying to layer that up with electric bikes. And I always say that the evolution of electric bikes will not necessarily be in the bikes themselves, but it'll be in the motors, yes, but it's going to be the battery technology. That's the big thing, the battery technology, and also the charging, and also absolutely the most important thing is going to be the infrastructure to get these things all charged up as well. Let me see if I can bring these up. There we go. So listen, if you're in the comments, let us know you're listening. Let us know what you're feeling, if you're enjoying the show, if you're enjoying the content as well. I will be getting on to the big debate a little bit later on anyway, but in a moment or two. Right, but here we go. Honda, they've announced a joint venture with battery production and supply with LG Energy Solutions, with production based in the United States. Okay, so obviously Honda's announced a new partnership. Will be formalized as the LH Battery Company, LHBC, and manufacture lithium-ion batteries for electric vehicles in Fayette County, Ohio. So if you're living in Ohio, Fayette County, and you need a job, guess what? Tell them Alf sent you. There we go. Tell them that you were watching Revelator Alf on the tubes, as it were, and he told us there might be a job going. So there we go. Go and produce some lithium-ion batteries for the electric vehicles. The new production facility of the joint venture is expected to generate, here we go, 2,200 jobs in the area. Hey, that's decent, right? And the two companies are expected to place investments reaching 4.4 billion, around 3.6 billion pounds. Wow. 3.5 billion around $3.5 billion, 2.9 billion pounds has already been invested. So hey, it's Christmas come early, come late, whatever, for Ohio. So well done there. Production of the facility will start early this year, and is expected. Production of the facility, or building of the facility, will start early this year and is expected to finish by the end of 2024. Mass production of lithium-ion batteries is expected to start in the facility by the end of 2025. Okay, so it's a long-term project, but obviously there's going to be lots of jobs being produced there just to build up the factory, and then obviously you're going to be producing. So look, it's interesting that big companies, and this is what I always said about the likes of Harley Davidson coming out with their with their bike, you know, the Livewire, and also then they have the spin-off company as well. I always said, watch out until the big manufacturers, big motorcycle manufacturers like the likes of Honda, when they start producing electric vehicles, electric motorcycles, and the technology, the supporting technology, and the infrastructure that they can bring to it. Watch out. And I've been saying this for a while now. Watch out now, because the likes of Honda, especially, but Yamaha, Suzuki, and Kawasaki starting to bring out new bikes, electric bikes. Not only them, the Chinese and the Indian markets bringing out new bikes to basically fill the market with electric bikes, cheap electric bikes, or cheaper electric bikes, but batteries that you can just charge easily. You know, they're investing in swappable batteries and all that sort of stuff as well. So, you know, watch out. This is a story to keep a hold of as well, or listen as well. Okay, the other thing I will quickly want to announce here in the UK, from excuse me, crikey, what a disaster I am today. From the 17th and 19th of February is the London Motorcycle Show. Motorcycle News London Motorcycle Show. Sorry, wrong one. And here there's, if I scroll down, quite most of the big players are there. Most of the big manufacturers there. You got Kimco, BMW again, of course, always do a good show. Ducati, Indian are there. Kawasaki, KTM, Suzuki, Yamaha would be there as well. But I'm going to let this ticker along, and you can see. Now I'm going to go on. I'm going to go. I can only go on the Sunday. It only runs for 3 days, which I always thought was a bit disappointing there for the London Motorcycle Show. I always thought it could run for 4 or 5 days quite easily, even 7 days. I thought it'd run. You know, they say it's the best motorcycle show in the UK. I'm not so sure it's the best. It's good. It's great, but, you know, Devitt Insurance, Triumph are going to be there as well. Sauron, who make the Sauron bikes. But look, it's saying Harley Davidson are going to be there. And I'm making a big play of this. Spada are going to be there. You know, playing this because they haven't been there for a number of years. I don't believe they certainly weren't there last year. And I was very critical of the time. If you remember, you want to go back when I was talking about this last year, I was very critical. I said, well, you should be at these shows, you know. And look, this is the show where they should be, because they've got they've launched. The only problem is they go to a new show like this, which is like a month after your launch, and you haven't got the bikes there for people to see. That's where it's a little bit tricky. So Spada, K-Berg, A-Bus, Royal Enfield are there, Norton are there. You know, so, you know, not a massive amount of bikes. It would have been nice to see a lot smaller bike manufacturers, let's say from Spain, let's say from Italy, that kind of thing. Even British motorcycle manufacturers there. It would have been good, but obviously I appreciate this. These cost a lot to put on as well. But there we go. Listen, so that's, you know, I'll be there going on the. So if you're there and you see me, come and say hello. I'm very friendly. Hopefully I won't have hopefully won't have a cold. I won't be sneezing all over you or anything like that. But it's always nice to see people as well. But listen, I suppose the inevitability has come. I've got to talk about this Harley Davidson, the 18th. It's all about today's show, really, wasn't it? It's all about that. It's all about this mob. Okay, so let's get into this. Harley Davidson. This, I'm not a Harley Davidson channel, but I do talk a lot about Harley Davidson. Guess what? Because I ride one, that's why. And I think they're the biggest news at the moment. They're the biggest news from the motorcycle world. The motorcycle world is, you know, we're waiting with bated breath. We're waiting to see what's going to happen. Let us know in the comments below what you're expecting from Harley Davidson, from their live launch. What are you expecting? What are you expecting them to come out with? What are you hopeful for? So this is where we've already had the early 2023 bikes released. The Tourers, the Cruisers, the Adventure bike, one of the trikes here in the UK this is. There was this week a naughty little leak, a little release of the freewheeler trike that's going to come out. I haven't covered that. If there was a show I was doing the other day, I ended it early and I said I was going to come out a little bit later on. It was that, and there was another bike I was getting feelers on, but I didn't want to corroborate it, I couldn't come out with it because I couldn't corroborate it as well. Then I saw some other video channels, YouTube channels covering it. I thought, okay, well, it's old news now. It's I don't need to. But look, here's the interesting thing, that there is more news to come here, and we've got to see how big is this news, how big of a splash are Harley Davidson going to make with their new bikes. So if the leaked freewheeler is big news, then I've got to say I'm a little bit disappointed. If that's all it is, that would be a real disappointment. Now, it's great. Look, you can expect this freewheeler is going to come out, the freewheeler, basically the stripped down version. I think the better value is in the Tri-Glide, but there we go. Because if you're going to have a freewheeler, you want something that you can carry bags and stuff like that. You want to make use of it, right? But that's another discussion, right? But we've got the Tourers, or the basic Tourers. We've got the basic Cruisers. We've got the Pan America 1250, and we've got the Sports S. That's all we've got. So we're looking for the Nightster, the Nightster S. We're looking for another Revolution Max engine in that sport category. We're looking for more Cruisers, maybe that Breakout 117. We're looking for, I don't know, anything else that can come out. We're looking to see if they're going to bring out these smaller bikes from the QJ Motor, the Chinese manufacturer collaboration. But I still think there's more. Obviously, the anniversary bikes as well, and the CVO bikes. The CVOs aren't going to be new bikes, though, aren't they? They're just going to give us something a little bit newer to give. And I suppose you've got to ask yourself about the value of the CVOs, and that sort of stuff. I'd be so interested to see how many CVOs are sold a year. I'd be really interested to see how many bikes. But look, if you've got the money and you want to buy a bike that's virtually got everything in, but I personally, if I had that kind of money, I'm not sure I'd put it on a bike anyway, but that's a separate issue. But if I had that money and I wanted to spend it on a Harley Davidson in particular, I'm not sure I would spend it on a CVO. I would spend it on a Tourer, which I really liked, and then I would modify it to my own specifications that would bring it up beyond the level of a CVO. So the only thing that would be lacking would be the badges, CVO, and the paint job of the CVO. But instead of custom vehicle operations, you could have it as Dan's vehicle operations or Steve's vehicle operations. It's only a badge at the end of the day. It's what's underneath that's the most important thing. So you can make it look like a CVO, but you can buy the add-ons if you want. But it's what's beneath it. And one of the big things that's always been the criticism of Harley Davidson Tourers, for example, as we know, is that obviously the chassis per se, but it's the suspension as well. So if they fix that on the CVOs as well, then you got an option. But listen, so I think there is something that Harley Davidson should do. They should, on this live launch. Let's just talk about the show. Let's just talk about the live launch. What are you expecting from this live launch? Let us know. Finesse the Challenger. Finesse the Challenger. Hello, how are you? Thank you for joining. What are you expecting? Are you expecting the same old diatribe, the same old stuff about the Harley Davidson story, about the legacy, the freedom, and the free spirit, and all that? Well, if you don't expect that, then I'll tell you what, you're a bit of a fool, I think. And if you are expecting it and you don't want to watch it, you don't want to watch that kind of thing, I would say don't watch the show, because bet your bottom dollar, your pound, your shekel, whatever it is, that Harley Davidson, they're going to give it with a thick layer, a big old dollop of jam and marmalade and butter and whatever of all this stuff, because it's their 120th anniversary year. And it's obvious that that this is going to happen. Let us know in the comments what you think. Finesse the Challenger. Love that name, by the way. I love that name. Finesse the Challenger. They all need LEDs. Yes. Yes. They need better suspension. Yes. They need more modernization. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. This is what infuriates many people within the Harley Davidson world, let's say. Even those who are big fans of Harley Davidson, right? They say, well, why don't they have LED lights as standard? Yeah, LED turn signals. Why don't they have that? Why don't they have the better suspension, especially, not so much on the cruisers, but especially on the Tourers? Why don't they have that? Why have they delayed that for so many years? There's lots of things. You could pick holes. You could always pick holes in all sorts of things. Of course you could. But, you know, for that point of view. But what are you expecting from this show? Now, if you remember the first live launch they did, they were trying to get workers from the factory or workers from Harley Davidson to act as television presenters, and it was embarrassing, to be honest. Yeah, no, this is no slight on the people involved, but that's not their job. They're not there to be TV personalities or media personalities. So you need to get somebody who's a media personality. Last year, it was the whole Jason Momoa thing as well, and it was all a bit of, I think everybody got a bit fed up with that whole thing as well. So they need to find a happy balance there. And yes, Jochen Zeitz is going to be front and center, I'm sure, because he's the CEO, and they've wanted to go with these live launches, and it's from that point of view, yes, he has to be there. And it's good, don't get me wrong, it is really good that they go to the different departments, let's say the fashion department or the paint department or the whatever, and they give a little insight, whatever. But it's always the same kind of rhetoric. It's always the same kind of thing. Well, we've got these cues here, and they start getting a bit artsy about the whole thing and everything. Oh, we're choosing the summer blossom from this indigenous plant, from so and so, and then we mix that with a bit of volcanic ash from Uge, and then we sprinkled it with some droplets from the waterfall from Victoria Falls and all this kind of stuff. And you're thinking, oh, right, okay, I just made that all up, of course. But you do kind of get this feeling, am I watching a motorcycle launch event, or am I watching some art show? And that's where you kind of get this kind of thing. DB, hello. Expecting shiny new paint jobs with little else. Hey, you said it. I didn't say a word. You said it. But large increase in pounds, dollars or shekels, yeah. They need to do a cheaper starter big V-twin. I agree. The starter starts at 16k. Doesn't encourage new punters. I agree. But look, but are they going to bring out these smaller bikes? Look, they've got the Nightster and the new variants. Let's see what will come out of that. Let's see if they do produce the cheaper bikes for the cheaper bikes, the 350cc, the 500cc, whether they're going to release those to the European market, the US market, excuse me, and also anywhere else in the world. Are they going to release more bikes at a cheaper base point? I said this in a show the other day. I said they have to do this to still be able to offer their expensive bikes for the future that people love, that people want to buy, but maybe just can't afford. They have to be able to sell bikes that are going to keep the bike running, There we go. So let me just get back here. What does it say? Hello, Don Bauer. Hello there. Hi. Vivid prices. Crikey. I went through the prices of all the bikes, of all the cruisers and tourers and so on and so forth the last few days. And a lot of the expensive bikes. Finesse, bring back the V-Rod. I might take a side-eye look. The V-Rod, it's very Marmite, as we call that in the UK, isn't it? You either like it or you don't. I think in some places, who was I speaking to a couple of years ago? I was another YouTuber. I think he went off motorcycles in the end. He went off in to do something else. What did he do? No, I think he went in to do adventure bikes more than Harleys and stuff like that. I forgot what his bloody name was. Moto Barista, who his name was. Anyway, he was from... because I was interviewing quite a few other YouTubers at the time for the channel. So if you go back into my archive, you'll find them. But he was, now where was he? He was Perth, wasn't he? And he was saying that the local scene in Perth, would you believe, a lot of people rode V-Rods. It was a big thing. It was a thing in Australia. There we go. Oh, let's just get rid of that. How can I block that? Yeah. Add to block list. There we go. There we go. Sorry, some things came up. I just realised that I could block somebody there. You're gone. You're out of here. Anyway, so bring back the V-Rod. I said I'm not so sure on the V-Rod. It's not for me. But then again, just like the Ducati Diaval is not for me either. I'd love to ride it. I think it'd be a cracking bike to ride. But same as a V-Rod, I think that there'll always be something on it that you think, wow, it's great. You get on it and you think, well, yeah, great, I like that. But then you kind of look at it and you go, nah, not for me. Dumbbell, if they did bring the V-Rod back, would it be over 20 grand and then some, probably, and then some. Yeah, quite a few. So listen, what are you expecting from this live launch? Are you expecting new bikes galore? Are you expecting fireworks? Are you expecting strippers to, be draped over motorcycles? What is it? What are you expecting? Or are you expecting some dour affair? Harley Davidson talking about their history, about their lifestyle, about, we came from the dirt, we came from the dust, but now we've risen like the phoenix, all that kind of stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if it's something like that. Are you expecting new bikes in the cruisers? There's big talk saying that the Cruiser's going to get a breakout with a 117 engine. I just think that's such a weird bike to have. I know there's a lot of fans of the breakout, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's a bad bike, but I'm just saying it's a weird bike to be singled out as the only bike in the Cruisers to have a 117 engine. It just seems really, really weird. It just seems really weird. Let me know if you agree. But I just think there could be other bikes in the Cruisers that could get a 117 engine. Now, if you remember when they first released the Lowrider S, I made a video of this, a reaction video, and I said at the time, Lowrider S, you've made a mistake, Harley Davidson. You've made a mistake. You should have come out as your signature bike within the Softail lineup or the Cruiser lineup. You should have released this with a 117 engine. You've made a mistake here. And guess what? A couple of year or so later, Lowrider S, Lowrider ST, becomes the signature series bike in the Cruiser lineup with a 117 engine. So look, hey, they obviously listen to me. They're obviously listening. Harley Davidson are listening to me, and I'm so pleased that you are. I'm so pleased that you are. Because I've got gems here. I've got gems. I've got pearls of wisdom that you need to listen to. But listen, look, so I still think that if this breakout story is true, if it's true, let me just drink my honey and whiskey. It's not, it's coffee, by the way. It's just coffee. I just think the breakout is a bit of a funny bike to bring it out on. Am I saying that all the bikes should have got a 117 engine? No, I'm not. I'm just suggesting that something like the Heritage Classic could have got it. The Fat Boy could have got it. Something like that. I think they could have upped. Let's say, or maybe just given options on all the bikes for a 114 or a 117 or something like that. If you're going to do that, if you're going to make us be wow, what's going on here, then just say hit us with options. Hit us with, because you kind of let the cat out of the bag here with the, if you go to the website, if I just show you the website here, where's my thing? If I just show you the website here, there we go. Look, this is what you're getting from Harley Davidson, right? We know this. You've gone to wherever you are in the world, you've got this, right? You go to harleydavidson.com, you'll see this page, and you'll see all the models, right? And it basically says Sport, Cruiser, Grand American Touring, Adventure Touring, and the trikes. And I'll show you this again. This is the media site where us as media people, right? We get images and videos from Harley Davidson, which for the most part do a good job, right? They provide us some decent stuff. And so, well done, Harley Davidson. Some other manufacturers, while some are very critically appraise Harley Davidson for some of the stuff that they do in terms of media, they actually do quite a good job on other aspects as well. But this hasn't been updated. This is all out of date. We're into 2023. You're still harping on about 2022. There's nothing there to say, hey, look, 2023 bikes are coming. They haven't even added the 2023 bikes that they have shown us that they're going to give you already with those Taurus and Cruisers and everything like that. So, it's, what are we expecting from them? Are we expecting shock or wonder? Or are we expecting a surprise? I thought a few weeks ago that Harley Davidson were going to really surprise us. Or surprise me. Surprise you. I thought that's what it was going to be. I thought there was going to be something that we'd be like, wow, that is amazing. I thought the surprise would be that they're going to release these small CC bikes. I thought, and I thought that was going to put the cat amongst the pigeons, with the Harley Davidson loyalists against, the new breed of Harley Davidson fan. But let's see. Hello, Kevin. Hello, how are you? Thank you for joining. Here we go. Would love the Bronx to be announced. Me too. Again, that will come into the Revolution Max Sport category. Yeah, I agree. I think it should. I think we had this discussion a couple of weeks ago. CVO's had three. CVO, V-Rod Road King Street Glide, not worth the extra dosh. I don't want to put people off from going to buy a CVO. Do not want to do that. However, I just believe, and I know I'm not alone in this, I just believe that if you want a CVO level bike, you can make your own CVO level bike. But that's not the point of the CVOs, is it? The point of the CVOs, excuse me, the point of the CVOs is that it's taken out of your hands. In other words, you're entrusting Harley Davidson as a manufacturer to provide you with a bespoke level motorcycle that you can pay extra for. That's the whole point. But in my mind, I'm saying there's no value in that. That's overpriced. So what you do, you buy a normal Tourer, Street Glide or Road Glide or whatever you want to buy, and then you just upgrade it to whatever, and you'll probably either spend the same or less, even less money, depending on what you want to do, and you get a better deal. But there we go. Right, Kevin, you say somebody has the best model of HD. Of course you some $1 million bogan. I know who you're on about. I'm only jesting. Look, Road King Special. I'm a fan. I am a big fan. I've the Taurus. I know you've got one as well. Yeah. So, Federico, hello there. How are you? Thank you for joining. Do you not think the Bronx will be there in the 2023? Do you know what? It's such a mixed bag. It's one of those bikes where you think, will it, won't it? Will it, won't it? I'm not sure that the Bronx will be the bike that we thought it was going to be if it is released. Let's put it that way. The bike that we see in the pictures, a couple of years ago, 2-3 years ago, when they bought the prototype Pan America and the Bronx around a couple of the shows, if you saw that, then you're probably thinking, oh, okay, yeah, it's all right. It's a bit generic looking in places. So then you think, right, okay, well, would they take that risk to bring that bike out? And I'm not sure they would. I think they bring out a Bronx, but I think they change up the design a little bit. I think they would have done. And I think they would have kind of maybe get us going and think, oh, yeah, they're bringing out the Bronx. But it will be a Bronx, you know, in other clothes, as it were, in other colours, as it were. I know I've missed out a couple of other ones here. Finesse, honestly, I've been expecting that HD will bring the Revolution Evolution engine to the cruisers. Yeah, with larger displacement. I've said this as well, actually. I've said this as well, that I think, you know, the cruisers could do with a Revolution Max engine. And I think the Tourers could do with it as well. For me, if they did that, that would be the biggest surprise. That would be the biggest one. Because I kind of feel that the news that I've been bringing you about the 350cc, 500cc Chinese bike and the Hero Motorcorp collaboration for the end of 2023 into 24, I think that's coming. I'm not sure. What I'm saying is I'm not sure if this is going to be announced on January the 18th, but I think that's coming. That's an inevitability. That's a way for Harley Davidson to stay in business or stay relevant for the next decade, right? So I get that. I get that. And I talked about that, the Pan America 975, and where I think its main rival is going to be in that Ducati Desert X, you know, if it's going for a more off-road capable bike. And, you know, you can talk about the Breakout, which I think is just a poor choice of a cruiser with a 117 engine, right? So it's the Revolution Max engine, and this is where the biggest surprise for me would be. And if I had to put down some money, I'm not a betting man at all, but if I had to put down some money, and they would say, here's a tenner, put some money down where you think Harley Davidson could really surprise, and it would be if they put a Revolution Max Tourer and they put a Revolution Max Cruiser. If they put those, they would have to be different chassis, of course. You know, that would suit those engines. But in that lineup, in those cruiser bikes or the tourer bikes, if they did that, then I think people would suddenly go, wow. They would stand back and they go, okay, now we're talking. Now we're talking. So it's almost like, you know, that I just don't think that Harley Davidson with the CVOs are going to go that big on an engine. I'd be surprised if they went all the way up to 131. If you think about it, this is okay. This is where I'm at with the Harley Davidson thing and bigger engines, right? If you are an athlete, right, and you go to the Olympics and you're on the Diamond League circuit, right, and you're a long jumper or you're a pole vaulter or whatever, and you want to break the world record. So the world record stands, let's say a pole vault, right? And this Basinskaya, whatever her name was, a few years ago, and Golovkin, I think it was the other guy from Russia, right? Russian athletes, I'm not sure if they got caught doping. Anyway, that's a side issue. But what they would do, they were world record holders, but every big event that they went to, let's say like the World Championships, European Championships and everything, where there wasn't a financial incentive to break a world record, they never would break a world record. They'd win, but they wouldn't break a world record. Unless they had to, because that's the only way to beat the competition, right? But when they went to the Diamond League events, when you could earn money from appearances and bonuses for breaking world records, guess what? Invariably, they'd break a world record. That's not what I'm on about here. What I'm on about is the method in which they applied to break those world records. So let's say the world record was at 5 meters, for example, 10 meters, whatever. So instead of going big jumps, like say 10 meters 10, 10 meters 20, right? They would do 10 meters and 1, 10 meters and 2, 10 meters and 3. See, they would break the world record, get that bonus, but they'd only just eke it out. This is where I think Harley Davidson are going to do with these bigger engines, with the CVOs. I don't think they're going to go 131. Because I already said I don't think there's that big enthusiasm from Harley Davidson to give customers the 131 as a standard package. I think they're going to... Now, I'm going out on a limb here because I have no evidence to support this up. No evidence whatsoever, okay? I've tried to... put my little feelers out. I've tried to ask around. I've tried to, my old contacts. I've been sending them emails, and nobody seems to know, right? But it's. I don't think they're going to go there. They're going to give. I think they're going to give you a bigger engine than one CVO, but it's not going to be a 131. I think early 20s, whatever they can do. 121, 123. I don't know what the level would be. So for that, the Taurus, I think there's going to be some movement in the Taurus. I think the bikes that they've given us, the Cruisers and the Taurus, they just seem a bit lame. They just seem, there's nothing there. You've got new colours, which is debatable whether you like those or not. There just isn't anything new. And you would have thought that they would have bought something new or told us about options. So they're either going to announce that in all the Cruisers and in all the Taurus, especially in the Taurus, they're going to give all the bikes the option for a 117 engine. That's what they're going to do, right? All of them. Or they're going to say all the bikes are going to get a big suspension upgrade, or they're going to get a big electronics package. There's going to be something like that, just to keep the fires burning, as it were, for the M8 engines. But if I was going to ask you, what would you like Harley Davidson to do? And this is what I want Harley Davidson to do for me, right? As a commentator, as a media, a media personality. No, as a commentator, as a fan of somebody rides Harley Davidson, I want them to surprise me. I want them to, give me something to, make me sit down and think, wow, well, that's interesting. Wasn't expecting that. Hey, that's good. And then I would have to sort of think, what do I think of that? Or do I like it? Do I not like it? And then it would be open the debate, and then you think, oh yeah, no, yeah, So there's lots to talk about. I think if they injected something into the Taurus and also to the Cruisers, that would really open it up. That would really open up the discussion and really open up potentially new markets or potentially open new customers, but it would definitely open up new customers to Taurus and Cruisers if they put a liquid cooled engine in there, the Revolution Max engine in there, especially those from other brands, right? They'd come in and say, hold on, we like the bikes, we never really like those air cooled engines or those air oil cooled engines. Now you got a liquid cooled engine, thanks very much. So especially if they come in on price, you got yourself a deal. Kevin, with HD, don't need bigger engines in their lineup. I don't think so either, personally. My M8 Stage 1 would, torque-wise, pull a tree stump out, I bet. With the top speed 120, 130, more speed for me, just not... Yeah, exactly. Again, it is dick waggling, isn't it? In that kind of thing, if you want that kind of thing. I personally don't think so either. I think, but the market is there for that to be exploited. There is a market there that people want that. Whether it is required or not, totally different thing. So with bigger engine options, and I'm not saying that they're not going to be standard because we've already seen the bikes, but would they give you options? I'm not so sure they would, but there we go. Maybe on a couple of bikes here and there. I don't think anything's going to happen to the lowrider STs or the STs of the Street Glide or the Road Glide and so on and so forth. So there's nothing really happening there. So where's the movement going to come from? Well, a Pan America 975, is that what we're hoping, pinning our hopes on? That's going to give us that shock, awe and wonder? I'm not so sure that's the case. I'm not so sure it could. I'm not even sure if another sport bike in the sport bike, right, for Harley Davidson in the, with a Revolution Max engine, let's say the Bronx, whatever style it is going to be the thing that shocks us either. The breakout, I think, would be surprising. I think not necessarily surprising in a good way. I think in a pretty poor way, I think it would be. But I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure. So I'm just wondering where you're getting it from. Where are we getting this? You know, what are we going to be really excited about? And I just want to see what Jochen Zeitz does, you know, when he's there, when we're all watching it, because I'm going to do a live watch-along show, right? And I'm sure other YouTube channels will be copying me, because they always seem to. No, they don't. I don't know. Maybe they do. But I'm sure lots of other YouTube channels will be doing this kind of thing, right? I started this, by the way. I started this 2 or 3 years ago with the live watch-alongs, but there we go. But I'd be interested to see how it's portrayed. What is the story they're going to give us, and what is the reasons for the new bikes that they give us. I hope that they give us something that is worthwhile, you know. But I suppose on the flip side of this, big flip side of this, is how many bikes realistically can they come out with? Can they brand new motorcycles that they can do in a live launch? You know, are they going to say, hey, look, okay, here is a Pan America 975. 5 minutes later, they're going to say, here's the new Nightstar. Okay, here's a new, you know, and you think, hold on a minute. You've got to give the time for each bike to have its own message, its own grand entrance, its own stage. And I think, whilst I want new bikes, I kind of think they're going to be limited to how many they can give you. So I think, you know, I hope it will be a grand reveal, a grand launch. I'm not so sure that it would. I'm not so sure that it's going to be. You know, I'm hopeful that we don't have all this whole diatribe. I hope, Harley Davidson, I hope you've been listening to me for the last couple of years. You probably haven't. You're probably turned off by now. But I hope you have been listening to say, change it up, change the way you do things. And hopefully, you know, it'll be something to watch. I'll be here watching it. I'll be streaming it on the channel as well and giving you my inputs as well, what I think. And certainly afterwards, a live reaction. I don't know how long these things... Can't remember, actually, how long they went on for. About half an hour, 25 minutes. Usually went on for. So, yeah, let's just see how it goes. But, you know, I think they could definitely put bikes into the cruiser lineup and also into the tourer lineup. You know, CVOs, you know, I'm CVO schmevios, you know, for me. I'm not overly interested in them, and I don't really care if they are what is offered there, you know. But I think they'd be decent. They'd be decent if you could afford that kind of bike. I suppose you've got to say, you know, how can they justify prices like this? But Harley Davidson are not the only ones who have to justify this. Lots of manufacturers. You can't be pointing the stick at Harley Davidson alone, because there are other manufacturers who do this as well. Let's just get this here. Yeah, Kevin, some spend big bucks on big build motors, will never use them. Yeah, that's exactly what I said in my video the other day. You never use it. Why have it if you're never going to use it? Excuse me. Andre, hello there, Andre V. Future could be, instead of a standard CVO, a system of ordering personal factory customization, even online, instead of replacing parts at the dealer. You see? Okay, this is another thing which I've been saying for a long, long time, in that you buy your bike from a dealership, right? Unless you're buying it off the shop floor and you're not in a hurry to buy it. In other words, you don't care if there's a bit of a lead time for it to arrive. You should be able to go to your dealership and have a bike made at the factory. In other words, it comes with your options. And I've always said this, a seat. Each dealership should have a range of different seats that, you know, comfier seats or different style seats that you can pick off the wall, put on it, have a little rig that you can sit on it and go, yeah, oh cool, that's a nice seat, yeah, so on and so forth. So you'll say, I want it with this bag, I want it in this color, I want it with this seat, I want it with this exhaust, I want it with this so on and so forth. I want it with this set of tyres. And then you just go, da-da-da, and all they do in the factory, they go, right, pick that off, pick that off, pick that off, and away you go. It comes in. Now, you may have to wait an extra 2 or 3 weeks, but at least you're getting a bike, and it doesn't cost any more. This is just a factory options that you can order, and that's it. And I think that's the way they should do it. But look, I think that would be very interesting, especially for the CVOs. If you are not governed by what they give you, you can actually order your own CVO. Okay, now we're kind of talking. But for me, even if that were the case, I would still revert back to Harley Davidson and buying a Tourer and just making your own, as it were. Brown Green, in old days, hello there, 1930s, you could custom order any combination you wanted. Yeah, back in the day, a lot of bike manufacturers used to do this. You could, and a lot of it, and I get it. And do you know what? Even small manufacturers today do it, even small, because they can hand build it or they can do it. They have the time. But there we go. DB, sorry for harping on. There's no need to apologise. Okay, nobody apologises here for saying this. Harping on about the cost of these things. I agree. But Harley Davidson are not the only ones. This is the point. Because you got all the manufacturers who are producing signature bikes, high-level bikes. They are in the higher price ranges, of course. Indian, exactly the same. Triumph to a certain degree with the big bikes. BMW as well. Not as much, but they're still there. Obviously, if you're talking about the most expensive bikes from Harley Davidson, like the CVOs, then it's just eye-watering. What anybody's going to be willing to pay for it, but they do, and they will, and that's the point here. They will buy it. They will buy it. How many will buy it? That's a different question, but people will buy it, or some people will buy it. Now, even the big question is, even in this day and age, with all the issues going on. I mean, I've said it. I love the bikes. I like the designs for the most part. Not all, but I like them. I bought a bike myself a few years ago, as you know, but I couldn't see myself buying a brand new bike. I couldn't do it. I just could not do it. I just think, wow, it's just too much. Just way too much. But there we go. Listen, it's. I'm hopeful. I'm always hopeful that Harley Davidson will come out with something interesting. I'm always hopeful that Harley Davidson will make it a pleasurable experience, a surprising experience, and I just have to, bite my lip through all the history stuff beforehand. But you got to expect it because it is the 120th anniversary year. But I just wish they would have a very, very short intro on that and just come out, and just like burst through the screen and say, this is our 120th anniversary. This is all our history. But this is us now. This is us today. This is us, Harley Davidson. This is what I want them to say. And to be honest and open and say, look, these are the bikes that we produce. We produce Tourers, we produce Cruisers, but we've also got this new Evolution, Revolution Max engine, the liquid cooled era. This is what we're doing. People criticize us for, expensive bikes as DB, right? Saying, as expensive bikes. But look, we've got the cheaper bikes, but we've now got even cheaper bikes. 350cc QJ Motor collaboration, and guess what, guys? Next year we're gonna have even more bikes. And this is where I'm saying they could make it really fast paced, really snappy, and then also address the questions that people have and all the concerns that people have, and say, we're going to do this. But you could also say to them, look, don't worry, just because we're doing all this, we're still going to be producing these big bikes that everybody wants to aspire to buy. Okay, they could do a big marketing spiel on this, a big marketing speech on this. That would really work. Okay, there's so many ways to do this. There's so many ways to twist this around, so that you got people out there who cannot afford the new bikes, but they could see that there's other bikes that they could afford if they like the Harley Davidson brand. if they wanted to ride a Harley Davidson, and for a lot of people, not all, but for a lot of people, it is name recognition. It's name recognition. They'll jump on the name, whether it's Suzuki, Kawasaki, you know, Honda, whatever it is, whether it's Moto Guzzi, whether it's MV Agusta, doesn't matter. If you really want to be associated with that brand, then you will do whatever you can to buy that, to get that. You know, back in the day, look, people would walk around with key rings, right, of, I don't know, BMW, you know, Lamborghini, Ferrari, whatever. And they throw their keys on the table and go, just show that everybody could see that they got a Lamborghini. Well, they give the impression they're probably just driving a Ford Focus or something. But they'll try to, you know, show off, say, hey, look, I got a, you know, and it's the same kind of thing. They just want to be associated with it. And they want to try and show everybody, pretend to people, hey, look, I've got this. It could be a similar kind of thing. You provide people with products or motorcycles that carry the Harley Davidson name, but they don't have to pay a lot for them. Hey, Finesse, enjoy the conversation. Look, thanks so much for dropping by. Really appreciate it. Got to get back to the grind of life. Take care. Yes, have a good day, whatever you're doing. As I say, I'm going to be heading off now. I've got a couple more videos coming the next few days as well, but my next live show will be on January the 18th. I'll be here at 3 p.m. in the afternoon UK time, which will be 9 a.m. Central Standard Time in the US, and it will be whatever time you are in the rest of the world. I think in Australia it might be something like midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning or something. I don't know. You're going to have to work this out yourself. But anyway, it's going to be late, or it's going to be early, or it's going to be bang middle in the afternoon, whatever. But hopefully you'll come and join. And thanks for watching today. That's for sure. Thanks for the channel. Thanks for the support. Thanks for all the subscriptions and all that kind of stuff. If you're watching on Twitch or watching on later, thanks for everything there. Really appreciate that. And as I say, it's gonna be an interesting one, that's for sure. Whether we'll be surprised, whether we'll like it, who knows? But we'll see. But again, thanks for all the support. You can check out all the socials down there if you want. I regularly post stuff from the website. It all goes to those sites as well, so you can always keep up on all the videos, all the blog posts, or any updates that'll come through there. That'll kind of be disseminated through there. I am trying my hardest to get to these social platforms as much, just to read messages or comments, but I don't actively participate in those mostly, but occasionally I do as well. But listen, thanks to everybody in the chat tonight. Really appreciate it. Morris, hello. Thanks for your thumbs up there. I really appreciate that. Number 8, and you say spread the word amongst the YouTube and also Twitch. If you're watching Twitch, or if you don't know what Twitch is, go check it out. Twitch.com, I think it is. It's more for gamers and things like that, so I thought I'd get down with the kids, you know, and join the gaming fraternity. No, it's another platform to do live content, and I think, well, if I'm this young, I'm going to make a lot more live content. I want to share it out as much as possible and get more people involved. And this is what I really like about live shows, the radio podcast thing, which I said before. What I really like about it is that I can interact with you guys, you know, one-on-one, as it were, or you can ask me questions and I can see them right there, and it's in real time. The problem with videos, in that comments and stuff, I'm not always around, I'm not always available to answer them, you know, busy life, you know, home life, work life, all that sort of stuff, and you know, or whatever. So it's not always easy for me to respond to those comments. But this real time, if you want to save any questions, you can ask that. Anyway, listen, it's been emotional. All I can say is thanks for the support. Thanks for joining in the chat. And well, all I can say is I'll catch you on January the 18th at 3 p.m. And I'll see you then. Ta-da.